All right. What we're going to look at is the Data Doors application for accessing and downloading aerial photography. And this is going to replace the Image Connect application that was running inside of AutoCAD and ArcMap. If you ever restore your 2009 profiles off the Start menu in the CAD management, we set that up so it'll actually delete the Image Connect profile, and that will no longer be available. But you try to download now, and you're going to get error messages saying that our account no longer exists. What we're using is a program called Data Doors, or Data Doors Web, and it's through Image Connect, not Image Connect, who's the guys? Aerials Express, and it's the website is run by a company called iCubed. So those emails you got with your account information, probably from iCubed product or production support with your account information. I've added a link here in the CAD form webpage for Data Doors Web and a brief explanation. And initially, we are only going to give CAD coordinators access to this meeting. Oh, looks like Jerry can't make it. That's fine. We're going to give CAD coordinators access to this meeting, to this website, as a way to kind of control how much data we download. The contract we have with them is for, it's an annual subscription, kind of like a prepaid cell phone plan. We've bought $5,000 worth of imagery, and it basically equates to about $2.50 per square mile. So that's quite a bit of imagery that we can download. So hopefully we won't exceed that amount. And a couple of things we're going to try to institute as we go through the year is keeping track of what images have been downloaded in the offices, so that way before we go and download another image and spend $100 on imagery, we can go see if somebody's already downloaded the corresponding image for that area. All right, so what I'm going to show you is how to get in and just some of the tools in here and ways to find your way around Data Doors, how to select the imagery, and then also talk about some of the processes that we're going to try to institute here at Nolte. I have not tested them yet because my account is not working correctly, but they have done some behind-the-scenes configuration of our user accounts to limit how much you guys will be able to download. And it really comes down to just a file size and web or internet connection that your offices have. We don't want you to be able to download hundreds of megs of data because that's going to bog down your internet connection or your network connection for an hour or two. And I know some of the offices really struggle when somebody gets a very large email attachment or somebody tries to stream some kind of video file or anything across or off the internet. And it really impacts the rest of the users in the office. So what we're going to have it do is you'll still be able to select the images, but the actual downloading of the image will occur here in the corporate office, and myself, Paul Grishon, and Dean Halstead will all have user accounts that will let us download the very large image files, because we have a much larger network connection, our internet connection here through our co-location facility that'll allow us to grab these large files without impacting production. The process will be then we will download it, and then that evening, if we get the download done, we will start the move or copy to the project folder location in the individual office. So that big file movement or that big file download will occur after hours, so that way you're not going to impact production in your office. Kind of keeping that in mind, it will take then potentially a day or two from the time you select a large image to when you'll actually get it. Anything larger than, say, half a gig or a gig, we're probably going to request it on DVD or on CD or DVD, and then we'll have to wait for that to be mailed to us. But hopefully, from my experience, what we've done with Image Connect, I don't see us downloading real large data sets all too often, so it really shouldn't be an issue. All right, so let me kind of jump into this. The website, the first thing you guys will have to do is you'll have to log in. The username should be your email address as it was written in that email notification, and it is case sensitive. So however they typed or misspelled your name in that login, that's what you have to enter here. So I'm going to have to type mine in. Okay, and then the password is also case sensitive. I had already copied mine because I can't type that fast. Username, password, you log in. I have yet to find anywhere to let you change the password, but in the meantime, I guess I'll just kind of have to keep mine written down somewhere so I can remember what that is. All right, so you're in. You should have the blue marble graphics there showing the entire globe. The way to navigate, there's two sets of tools here. You can either use the locate button here to look for a specific feature, or you use the navigation buttons here. And right now my initial selection here is zoom in. So say I want to zoom into California. You just window an area and it'll zoom, and I can come in maybe the San Francisco Bay region or whatever, and I can keep drilling my way down. Is one way of locating. I've kind of liked their locate functionality here because it allows you to type in different search criteria to locate what you're looking for. You can do it by feature name. So some of the ones I've been playing with, say I'm looking for Las Vegas. Since I'm going there in a couple weeks for Autodesk University, let me locate that, and it'll show you every Las Vegas that it comes across in their database. And I can either choose, I guess, for the U.S., Las Vegas, Nevada, or New Mexico. So we'll try Nevada first. So I'll pick that, pick zoom, and it will zoom to the centroid of that place name. So right here we should zoom in on Las Vegas so we can pan around. Maybe I want to find the strip here in Vegas. So there's the airport, so I know the strip's right near there. So we can zoom in. Okay, and we can locate it that way. So real nice tool. Other things you can do with this, say I'm looking for an address. I can say I'm looking for our building here, which is 2495 Thomas Park Drive. And I usually just skip down and put in the zip code, which is 95833, I think, and then locate that. And what it'll do then is it'll find anything that matches that. So I can either go right to the zip code, or it actually found our address in their database. So I'll go ahead and zoom to that, and then it'll take us in. And right there's our office building right off Interstate 5 and Garden Highway. So pretty nice tool for locating. Other things I've played with, you can look for street intersections. Okay, if I can think of a couple off the top of my head, I would put those in. Our zip codes, you can go to that. You can also do it by latitude and longitude. If you have coordinates, maybe you were looking or browsing in one of the Google Earth type applications, you have lat and longs, you can type those in here and then locate based on that. You can either do it by decimal degrees or degrees, minutes, seconds, which is kind of nice. Other one on here is you can also do it by quad sheet. So if you know the name of your quad sheet, if I click in here, they're not going to I don't know any quad sheet names off the top of my head, but if you've got a known quad sheet name, you can also locate based on that. Okay, let me close that. So that was the locate. So once you zoom in, say maybe I want an image from our office here, so let me zoom out a little bit here. On that. So you can use zoom in and out pan. This takes you to previous view. This is zoom extents. But once you find the area of interest, so maybe we need to show the freeway, Garden Highway, maybe we're going to do some work on this parcel here or whatever, you can come over to these buttons, and this is where you specify the area of interest or the region that you want to download an image for. Real basic, you draw a rectangle. So I'm going to come in here. And I'm picking and dragging. You don't pick the two corners like you do AutoCAD. You just pick and drag. And as soon as I let go, it will then highlight that area. Okay, so it should, hopefully you can see that through GoToMeeting here. It highlighted it with kind of a cyan dotted hatch pattern here. And then over on the left, you will see what products are available for that area of interest. And they've got two sets of categories here. You can either do imagery, which would be aerial photos or satellite images, and you also see there's some DEM data available here. And then the maps is going to be things like the USGS quad sheet. If you're curious as to what this is going to contain, there's this little information button that you can click on. It'll explain to you what the data is. All right, some of these have samples, so we click on that, and it shows you a little picture of what that data would look like, and that's just, I have no idea where that's from, but that's just a representative sample of what that data type looks like. So if we scroll back up here, we see their main imagery, which we'll have access through through our accounts. Depending on where you are located, you will get different data sets available to you. Their brochure indicates that they do update these on a quarterly basis. This area here obviously hasn't been updated in a couple years. But if I click on the little I button on that, it'll show you, this is 50 centimeter high resolution. And sometimes if you wait, you get the little button there to do a preview, and apparently I'm not getting a preview for this data set, so that's fine. I can close that down. But depending on what you want, so say I do want the 2007 image, I would select that, and then you add it to your order. Okay. Over on the right side is what your order is. It'll show what our credit in our account is. It'll show you what you've selected. Okay, show you the size of it, so 0.22 miles. Right now, my account that I have is defaulting to a minimum order of $50, and I was under the impression that there would be no minimum using the prepaid account, but I'm following up on that, so I hope that's not the case, because that's an awful expensive $50 for such a little image. All right, but once you got your image selected, I can actually go highlight other areas of interest, select a product, add it to my order, and I can just keep building up my order. Everything I add my order will also show at the table, in the table down below here, so I can see what all I'm ordering. And I've only been doing just one area of interest at a time, just to kind of help me keep track of things. All right, so once you're ready to go, you've got your area selected, you've picked your imagery, you've added it. You come over here, and then you tell it, in terms of processing, what do you want to do with this now? So I'm going to click on this Choose button, which will bring up a screen with a series, kind of a wizard that takes you through all the different questions you need to ask in order to process your image. Right now we only have one process. They actually call it clip, zip, and ship, because what they're going to do is they're going to clip out that image, they're going to zip it up, and they're going to ship it to you. So that's how they came up with the name, so we have to select that one. The next category is image format. So depending on the size of the area, this will dictate what type of imagery. For small regions like this, I think a GeoTIFF is fine. That's going to have the correlation data in the header of the image. Raster design, AutoCAD map image insert, map FDO will all read a GeoTIFF. Okay. Anything larger than that, if you're dealing with several square miles, I would go either to the ECW compressed, which is going to give you, the GeoTIFF typically gives you about a 4:1 compression. This, it says, will give you about a 10:1 compression. And if you scroll down, you also see we can do a Mr. SID compressed. Problem is I don't have a lot of software that'll read Mr. SIDs. We do have the Lizard, whatever it is, I can never remember the name of that program. Lizard Tech, there it is, Lizard Tech Geo Express will let us crop and edit Mr. SID files, so that is another option. But you want to go with the file format. Obviously, a small area, we can probably get away with the GeoTIFF. Real large areas, I would then go either ECW or Mr. SID. Okay, for this one, this is less than 0.2 square miles. That's puny. I'll say I want a GeoTIFF. Okay, so once you got your format, you pick select. Next thing is what coordinate projection you want the image downloaded in. So you need to do geodetic coordinates, which are going to be lat long. You need to specify which datum you're using. Okay, UTM will be all your UTM zones, and I forgot what we are here. I can never remember. We're like 11, 10 or 11. I can't remember. And then they also have state plane. And it's typically what I've seen are going to be the NAD 27 and the NAD 83. State planes. So I know Sacramento here we're NAD 83 or we're zone 2, so I'll set my zone 2 projection. and select that. So that'll be stored in the world file and also a geotiff in the header of the image. So it'll bring it in and place it in the correct location. All right. Tiling options. This lets you control how many files this image is going to be cut into. All right. So you will download a single image file, but if you're doing 10, 20 square miles, you can come in here and specify the maximum file size in megabytes. So I say I want to keep my files at 50 megabytes. You would hit the apply button. It will then calculate how many tiles it will take to slice that up into 50 megabyte pieces. So obviously this image is less than 50 megabytes. Let me try 10. Okay, so based on 10 megabytes, this is the same. It's going to be one image file. So it kind of gives you a heads up on how much data you're going to be getting when you go to download it. So I do recommend don't download the half a gig single image file. I think depending on the area, I would do 100 meg or 50 meg, because thinking ahead, that helps you control how much data you are referencing inside your AutoCAD environment. AutoCAD's going to behave much better if I only bring in 1 or 2 50 meg files as opposed to always referencing a 500 meg or a gigabyte file size. Okay, so definitely want to keep it into the smaller areas here. All right, so once you got your tile size in megabytes applied, the select button will become available here. You can select that. It then goes out, crunches the numbers based on the area, and says, here is how much this will cost you. Okay, and it will cost you. So this will actually credit our account or debit our account, and deduct from our $5,000 credit that we have. All right. I'm on a demo, so I can keep going here, so I don't have to worry about ruining our amount. So I select that this order is ready to go. Okay.
Does it have anywhere to enter a project number?
We will do that when we proceed. Okay, and that's kind of something we're working on. I'd like to see the actual final version of this, because that's one of the things we've asked for explicitly, is besides a file name, but to have a job number field, and I'm not logging in to the correct account to see that. If we don't have that initially, that is something we are going to work towards with them. They're real open to customizing this to meet our workflows. So they said, hey, if you guys are asking for it, other people are going to ask for it as well. So they've been, so far to this point, they've been a pretty good group to work with here. As far as setting this up. All right, so we've got our order process. I can come in here, clear my area of interest. Did I just delete my project? I did. Oops. That's a good training. I didn't realize that I had to proceed. Let me see if I proceed. Yeah, my bad. I can't delete my area of interest. So that's what happens when I don't practice a presentation. All right, so that's good. Repetition is good. As I'm coming over here, I keep hovering over this little layer list. This is just a little layer toolbar that lets you turn on and off the supplemental data. Like if I don't want to see the highways, I can turn that layer off, update map, and you'll see my I-5 stuff will go away, and all my roadway goes away. Okay, so I can turn that on. But I just like that stuff as a good background reference as I'm trying to locate my imagery. All right, I apologize for that. So let me run this again. Choose. So we'll do that. We'll do geotiff. We'll do state plane zone 2. We know 1 works, so we'll apply that. Oh, did I change my file size? Oh, I got a bigger area. Okay, so let me do 50. Okay, so I can fit that in 1. All right, and then pricing, so I get a little bit, 0.6 miles here. So we'll go ahead and proceed with that. All right, so it looks like I have to leave my area selected. That's fine. So I don't want to remove this, but I can go and draw additional areas on here. Let me proceed and show you the checkout process. Right now, this is where we are putting in the job number. Okay, and this will also become your image name. So we're looking, so I'll just make up one of the job numbers, but we would like to see job number and phase just like you do on your timesheet. So what will this be billed to? And we are going to be a little more diligent this year than we have in the past as far as tracking image downloads and charging them to the appropriate jobs. So we can't afford to do free data anymore. We're really getting pushed to track all of the costs. So if you are, if this is a BD job, put in your office BD number. That's fine. A lot of the imagery we download is for business development purposes. We need a quick exhibit. The best thing to get is go grab an aerial photo and download it. But just put in your appropriate BD number. And then you may want to supplement this with, a descriptor of what this image is. So this is, I'm going to call it my Nolte Sacramento office. Okay.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
What is, I see you've got a minimum of $50 on there, but what will it actually come out to?
It should be, the contract we signed, it's $2.50 a square mile. And,
okay.
Yeah, if you do the options here for payment, there's also a credit card option. That has a minimum of $500. So,
Sweet.
Yeah, so they really force you into doing the contract amounts because then you can get down to a much smaller value. If we bought $10,000 worth, it would have been $1 a mile that we paid for.
That's not unreasonable. That's not $50.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping. If not, because it said nothing in the contract that there was a minimum of $50. Because I even asked, and he says, no, it is what it is. You pay per mile. So, yep. All right. So definitely, what we want to see is a good job number and phase, because we will be billing this to projects. So make sure project managers understand that. Okay, so let me select that. Shipping information, I've already done this once. This needs to be filled out with your name, address, and everything. Email. We've got this set up that if your image size is less than 20 megabytes, it will email you with a notification to download. Okay, you don't actually download at this point. This is just an ordering website. All right. The downloads are done separately, but if your file is larger than the 20 megabytes, it will go to me, Paul, and Dean. We will download it and then at some point get it to you when we can not impact the network. All right, so let me proceed on that. All right. Available media types. All right. Most of the time, the smaller, I'm going to say if it's half a gig or less, we can go FTP. Okay, anything real huge, it's probably in our best interest to go CD or DVD. Okay, so I'm going to go FTP. We'll select that. Okay, shows you your tax and total information. That's fine. You can select that. All right, so here's all the order information. Okay, so you can verify it one last time before you go. You've got your Aerials Express end user agreement. You can read that. That's fine. You have to accept the terms of that, indicating that you may have read it. All right. And when you're ready to go, you hit the order button. All right. And since this is my demo PO, I'll go ahead and order it. So thank you very much. Would you like to print your order confirmation? I'll go ahead and answer yes to that. You get a nice little invoice. This information is also included in the email they send you. It won't be quite as pretty, but you do get a confirmation here. So this may be something you want to print up to add to your project. So if your client, if you're expensing this to the project, here's your receipt. Okay, I'm not going to print that up. We'll close it out. Everything resets, returns the screen back to the default, and you're ready to hear my little email go bing. So let me open that up, and here's what we got. Okay. All right, so that's good to see that it is working. It says your data door client for this job has been submitted the following supervisors. Wow, I'm a supervisor now. All right. Please contact one of them if you have questions about your order. All right, so the file I grabbed was more than 20 meg. It's not going to let you download it directly. So that's good. I'm glad that's working. That's nice to see. So hopefully at some point we will get that order confirmation. But what you get if it's less than, let me close some of this stuff down, is you will get this email that says your client application for whatever has been submitted and approved. Okay, so that will, you will get that email, and then once it is approved and processed, you will get an email that looks like this. And what it has is an HTTP secured download link. All right, it says the file is available for 7 days, so you gotta get it downloaded right away. And then you can either do it through this link. This one's already dead because I did this one a week or so ago. And then you grab the image, you download it from the FTP site. They got some quick explanations for doing it through Internet Explorer. When I downloaded it, I just clicked on this link here, and it popped up with the dialog, hey, where do you want to save this to? Okay, I think, or you get the bar on the top that you got to say, yeah, allow me file download, and then you get the save as. All right, what you will get when you download, okay, it comes compressed. I've already unzipped this one, but you get this little data doors folder, and in the folder you get these subdirectories and little README text, which is their license agreement, and your order information. Okay, so you get this little order information, what you got. In the data folder will be the image file. Okay, so this is almost the same size. This is one I did for San Diego office for Mark, and who did we do that for, Mark? I forget. Anyhow, that's fine. I'm not going to open it. You get their license. Here's their end user agreement. Basically, we cannot resell these images. We can use them in our documents. We can use them in production. We cannot rebroadcast them via our own websites. You know, if we provide a web service, we can't use them for that. So that's what it's saying. And then we get this metadata folder. And I've actually at some point like to work into our process where if you guys download yourself, send us back in Sacramento this metadata folder, because what we'd like to do is compile all of these shape files to keep track of what images we've downloaded. And what it is, it just has some shape files that let us know what data set, you know, it has metadata about what image was downloaded, the name of the files we downloaded, and also it has polygons to show us the area that was downloaded, and we can then build in our Nolte information system at some point a layer with all of these boundaries on it. So if somebody needs another image, instead of going directly to data doors, the goal would be first check and see what we've already downloaded at Nolte. Okay, and all that is stored in these files here. I'm not going to show you that. All right. I think Dean must have got the email because he tried calling me while we were on the phone, and he hasn't been trained yet, so that's probably the first one, so I'll get back to him on that. I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't send me the email. All right. Any questions from anyone on this? Pretty straightforward?
I got one.
All right.
If you download it with all the roadway information on there, does that come with the image?
This is just images.
So you don't get the street names and highway numbers and all that?
This is aerial photos only. Okay. You want anything else? All that roadway data, we actually own most of that through our Esri licenses. So if you do need that, I'm going to say give Dean Halstead here a buzz, and he can provide that for you. Okay, we have all of that. I know that first, and I think the reason you asked that is because some of the offices are using the Aerials Express application on some of our office servers or workstations, and that one does have the ability to export the political boundary and the roadway data along with the imagery. Data doors is purely the imagery. Okay, but we do still have access through our Esri accounts, access to all of that roadway and state and county line data that we're used to getting. So it's just a matter of we get it through a different location is all. So, all right. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think 20 megabytes is a little small for a limit?
I don't know. That wasn't my choice. It's based on the least common denominator out there in terms of office network connectivity, which is going to be...
I can see people complaining that they're going to have to wait a day for their image.
Well, again, if it's less than, if this file I just downloaded was 50 meg, all right, I should reasonably be able to download that and then send it to you when I get it, and just need to be understanding that it may impact your network connection in your office for 15-20 minutes. Okay, it's not bad. Unfortunately, we couldn't say Salt Lake guys can have 100 meg because they've got a T1. Yucca Valley and Palm Desert can only have 10 meg because they've got dial-up or whatever. I'm not sure what you guys have, Alejandro, but it's just we have such a disparity of network connections that we had to put some kind of threshold on it. And it does impact it. That 50 meg file I copied down to San Diego, and we could actually go look on the riverbed data graphs, and we could see the 15 minutes it took for me to copy that file down to San Diego server.
But yeah, that's copying it through the server, not downloading it, which would be a different story.
Yeah.
Because if we were downloading that 50 meg image, it wouldn't slow us down that much.
Okay, but some office...
as compared to you copying it over.
Yeah, again, that's that much. Again, your office has a little bit better network connection than some
No,
of
I
the others.
understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
As we progress, again, this could be something as we get better networks and better processes, we can, at some point say, hey, look, you can download it, but make sure you do it, start it after hours or whatever. But it was a concern Ken had, because it's a complaint he gets a lot from managers and people on the offices of, why is the network so slow? Okay, in order for me to get this approved, we had to put that throttle on it. Is why we're doing it this way. So yeah, it's not immediate, but dang, it's 1-year-old, 2-year-old aerial imagery pretty much of anywhere in the world, and it's accessible to every office. And we at some point will probably add other users, like some of the BD folks. It'd be nice to give them some access. That's the other thing we liked about this is it takes it outside of the CAD world, and we make it available to some other folks. Okay.
Is the resolution any better than Aerials Express, which is for free?
Aerials Express is the stuff you have right now at your desk.
Yeah, which is free.
Well, no, we paid a ton of money for that.
Oh, we're not gonna have that any longer?
Aerials Express, you can use it as long as you're satisfied with the age of those images. Okay, this is the exact same imagery, but we're not limited to the regions that we purchased with Aerials Express. We don't have to maintain gigabytes of image files on workstations and servers. And if they update your area with the 2009 set of aerial photos, we get that automatically the next time we log in here to download. Whereas the stuff that we have on Aerials Express in San Jose and San Diego and Sacramento, and I don't know if Salt Lake has that, I forgot.
Yeah.
You guys do as well. That is, we paid for those 4 data sets, we paid like $50,000, $60,000 for, and they're becoming obsolete because those are, 2005, 2006 images. So this will give us a chance for a fraction of the cost to have the latest and greatest imagery available through Aerials Express. And the other nice thing is we don't have to maintain gigabytes of imagery in software. So that's kind of the objective we're looking at. Let me go back to just show one more location. Let me go back to New Mexico, just kind of talk a little bit about the data. And I chose Las Vegas intentionally. You saw when I did Sacramento, we had 2006, 2007 imagery. If I do a region out in the middle of nowhere, not a big urban area, I just picked Las Vegas, New Mexico, because I had the pleasure of staying there one night when I was young on a road trip, and it's not the same as Las Vegas, wherever it is, Nevada. All right. For this area, we're off the grid, so to speak. We're not in any major urban or metropolitan area, and you'll see that your selection of imagery is drastically reduced. The EDEM, ESAT, DEM, SAT, and then the topo is DEM data, satellite data, and then the quad sheet topo map. For imagery for these areas, you get to what are these two down here. You can get USA Nationwide Prime. Let me click on that. Information, there we go. And you'll see what they call a 1 meter, so we're not sub-meter like we were in the other images, but it's 1 meter seamless. And what they've done is they've taken their imagery and incorporated it with a couple of these other ones. You're going to see there's some older I-cubed imagery, and then also the USGS ortho maps, and they also use the NAPE. Okay, and then where you get out and there's really nothing, then they'll go to the DOQQ imagery. So what it does, though, is they've done a good job in blending them together, making them seamless, color correcting them, so you can go pretty much anywhere on the map and you'll find some imagery. Okay, it may not be the most current, but in these areas I don't think their rate of development was all that drastic, so it's not that big a deal. But you can get imagery, and that's one of the things we could not do with some of the other applications that we had. There's just, they had limitations in where they went. So real nice. I think I didn't answer Dion's question either. He talked about image resolution. You do download, I grabbed this area, it is going to be 1 meter pixel. Whereas with Image Connect, it was based on your zoom height in AutoCAD. So you zoom in, if you wanted higher resolution, you had to zoom in closer, which meant you got smaller images, or you did custom image sizes. Whereas this, you select the area and you download it, and you're always going to get the native resolution of the image. So if they say 1 meter pixel or 50 centimeter, 30 centimeter, or whatever, that's what you're going to get. So.
Hey, David?
Yeah.
Another question. I may have missed something, but do you or Paul have to approve all of the downloads?
We don't approve them. I mean, as soon as you hit that proceed button and check out and pick OK, that image is ordered.
Okay, I thought it said it was sent for approval.
The approval is on the iCubed site, and it's basically, is this?
Do you have money?
Do you have money, and is this possible?
Okay.
Are you requesting half of the continental United States at 1 meter resolution? They're not gonna ship that. Okay, but there is no nullity approval process. All right.
Okay.
We will disable accounts if people aren't putting in job numbers. We can have any account drop. So if you guys don't use job numbers, we'll just say, well, fine, you're not going to play. Then we'll cancel your permission. But I kind of think at $250 a mile, $5,000, we should be doing okay. And that's kind of just trying to compare it relative to what we've done with Image Connect over the years, over the past year. So we didn't see a need for financial approval, but just make sure you do put the job number in the title there that it asks for. Otherwise, we can't track it. And if we just, we'll warn you a couple times or call you and say, hey, you downloaded this. What do we bill that to? And that's fine. But the goal is to capture. I've got some reporting utilities that they're putting together for me that they'll give me the monthly download, and then we'll just have Candy or somebody put that into the ledger, charging it to the jobs as appropriate. So, all right. Any other questions?
Very good.
Hey, I got a question, David.
All right.
So when you get that file, when you want to bring it into AutoCAD, you just do it like you would do the Image Express or the Aerials Express?
Yeah, just like you can use either use raster design, and you'll have the image pull-down menu, and you have image insert, or if you're not using raster design, you have on the map pull-down, you have the map image insert. And both of those will read the world file or the correlation data in the TIFF file, and they will place it based on the coordinate projection that you downloaded it. So you definitely want to bring them into state plane coordinates, because that will convert them from lat long and at least convert them to feet. Your project may not be in state plane, but at least you'll have some kind of translation or rotation that you'll then be able to move the image to correlate to your site. We're trying to get people to work more and more in a close enough approximation of state plane coordinates on the project. It's a little tough because most of our work we do on ground coordinates as opposed to grid coordinates. And these images are going to come in grid coordinates, but you can also scale them appropriately to get them down to ground as well to make them fit your site. And that's something, work with your surveyors. They can help you out, hopefully, with your grid to ground conversion factors for that area. So, all right, any other questions?